Hi, I'm Dani Paredes, registered dietitian for WIC and CHAS Nutrition Services. I'm going to be talking a little bit about general nutrition today. First is the grains group. We need anywhere from 5 to 6 servings a day. A serving of the grains is about 1 tortilla, 1 slice of whole grain toast, for example, or this half cup of rice. Our goal is to aim for more than 50% of our sources of grains to come from whole grain sources. On this slide, we have refined grains shown on top versus their whole grain counterparts on the bottom. Do you know the difference between refined grains and whole grains? The grain kernel in nature, let's say a wheat kernel, has a hard exterior layer called the bran, which contains the majority of the nutrition of that grain, including B vitamins, folic acid, magnesium, iron, and fiber. Companies know that in order to turn bread from how it would normally come out a little bit rough into that fluffy white Wonder Bread, they have to strip the grain of that bran. And in doing so, they remove much of that nutrition and they take away all the fiber. They try to fortify those grains once again, but it's not really the same. What is fiber? It's a type of carbohydrate that our bodies can't digest. And so it stays in the large intestine, it attracts water, and in that way helps to regulate bowel movements. It also helps to feed beneficial bacteria that we have in our gut, which protects us against diseases like colon cancer. It also binds to cholesterol and helps to lower LDL cholesterol levels. But one of fiber's most important functions is that it helps to slow the digestion of foods. This is important in diabetes management since it helps prevent spikes in blood glucose. Most people need 25 to 30 grams of fiber per day. A half cup of oatmeal about this size or a half cup of raspberries about this size contains 4 grams of fiber per serving approximately, while 1 cup of squash or half a cup of beans about this size can contain up to 8 grams of fiber per serving. Vegetables, legumes, fruits, and whole grains are our main sources of fiber, and in my opinion, in that order. Here we have some dairy or calcium-rich foods. We need 2 to 3 servings from this food group every day since we need about 1,000 milligrams of calcium every day. Calcium, vitamin D, and in some instances protein are the main nutrients from this food group. One serving would ideally contain as close to 300 milligrams of calcium as possible, and you can get that amount of calcium from this 8-ounce glass of milk, this 1.5 ounce of cheese, which is much smaller than the milk portion because it's mostly fat, 3/4 of a cup of non-fat Greek yogurt, ideally, or 1 cup of most of these other foods, for example, 1 cup of beans. Now, although you notice dairy is part of this food group, it's not absolutely necessary in the diet to have all of our calcium needs. A large part of the population is lactose intolerant, and so there exist plant-based alternatives like soy milk that we can drink if that's the case. There are also dark leafy greens like spinach, kale, bok choy, sardines, almonds, or fortified orange juice, which can add to our calcium needs every day. Because of how calcium is absorbed by the body, 1 cup of bok choy gives us about as much calcium as we can get from 1 cup of milk. And as you've already caught on, some of these foods in this food group double as other food groups. For example, these foods are part of the vegetable family, including the squash, and then beans, soybeans, almonds, and yogurt a little bit, especially the Greek variety, give us protein as well. Here we have some protein foods, and we need anywhere from 6 to about 8 ounces of this food group per day. 3 ounces is about the same size as the palm of your hand, or about the same size as this deck of cards, while 1 ounce is about the same size as a golf ball. It's important to choose leaner sources of protein, such as the chicken, turkey breast, or eggs, for example, as these are going to contain lower amounts of saturated fat. Or choose plant-based sources of protein, like nuts, beans, soybeans, as these contain no dietary cholesterol. Ultra-processed meats like ham or bacon should be limited to once or twice a week only, since they contain a lot of sodium and can be cancer-causing agents. Here I'm showing a variety of fruits. We should aim for 2 to 3 medium-sized fruits per day, or about a cup and a half of fruits. This is a half cup portion here. Each color represents a different set of nutrients that are important for our health. Now, I recommend fruits 2 to 3 hours after main meals as snacks, ideally if possible. And during snack times, we should try to combine food groups as much as possible, and whenever possible, try to add a vegetable. And I'm going to give you some examples. We could do a slice of whole grain toast with half of an avocado, for example. That's mixing a whole grain and a vegetable. We could also do this half cup of strawberries with 3/4 of a cup of plain Greek yogurt. Here we're mixing a calcium-rich food with a fruit, a little bit of protein. Next example I have is just a plain apple with about an ounce of almonds. Here we're mixing healthy fats, a little bit of protein with a fruit. Or if you want to imagine some celery sticks here with this peanut butter, that would be combining a protein food with a vegetable. Or baby carrot sticks with a cheese stick and a little bit of ranch, for example. There we're combining calcium-rich food with a veggie. Here we have a variety of vegetables, the last of our food groups. And we should ideally be consuming 3 portions of vegetables a day. What's a portion? It's about 1 cup, this size, or a bowl, about this size. They're both 1 cup servings. As I mentioned before, each of these colors presents a different set of powerful micronutrients that are important in helping us prevent infections and illnesses ranging from cardiovascular disease to neurological disorders like Alzheimer's. Most of our vegetables should ideally come from non-starchy sources, so think salads, broccoli, bell peppers, whatever vegetable you want to imagine there. And starchy vegetables like sweet potatoes, peas, corn, or just regular potatoes shouldn't be eliminated from the diet, but rather just limited instead. Even though they get a bad reputation for spiking our blood sugar, they do still have some fiber and still have their own set of micronutrients that are important. Did you recently have a cheat day? We're all human. No one, including myself, has a perfect diet. And we should remember that every new meal is a new opportunity to make a choice that's going to benefit our own health. A solid nutrition can be thought of as the foundation for a healthy lifestyle, but it is no means by the only part. We also have to consider other components, like taking your medication, going to your follow-up doctor's appointments, or getting a regular 8 hours of sleep a night. If you take nothing else from today, just remember to try to work on adding more vegetables onto your plate. And if you've recently been diagnosed with a chronic condition like diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, if you have struggled repeatedly to lose weight, or if you're trying to bulk up muscle mass, train for an athletic event, or need any advice, nutrition related for yourself or your family, please give us a call here at Nutrition Services at CHAS to work with one of our registered dietitians.